U.S. President Donald Trump attacked a House vote to limit his war powers on Thursday, saying it came in the middle of his final negotiations to end the war with Iran. In a post on Truth Social, Trump called the vote meaningless and criticized four Republicans who joined Democrats in backing the measure, accusing them of grandstanding. So here's a quote by President Trump saying, "They know where the negotiations stand," Trump said, adding that Democrats would rather see the country fail than give him another political victory. Here's another quote by President Trump saying, "The Democrats are fueled by Trump derangement syndrome. They would rather have our country fail than give me another of many victories. The four Republicans that's a whole other story. They're grandstanders. They should be ashamed of themselves," he said. So I think one of the Republicans who voted this way was Thomas Massey, who, even though he lost, obviously it's going to take a while for him to leave. My understanding is that this I mean, this is the House, so we don't have the Senate, right, for this. So we need the Senate as well. I mean, I did so we need the House to vote for this, and we need the Senate to vote for this, and then if the House and the Senate vote for this, then President Trump can veto it, and then it will go back to the House and the Senate, and now you need to go that both the House and the Senate need to vote for it again, and they need to get a two-third majority, and then it will then President Trump would not be able to veto it. People say it's unlikely that you could get that, but some people say he can after the midterms. I don't know. You guys could tell me. But then, even if they manage to get a two-third majority and it goes back to the White House without it being able to get vetoed, then President Trump could say, "Well, this is unconstitutional because the War Powers Act is unconstitutional because the Constitution gives the presidents certain abilities, and this violates that." Then President Trump could continue doing what he wants to do without paying attention to that. But then what they could do is they could take it to the Supreme Court, and then in the Supreme Court they have to decide this constitutional. So we are ways before uh, uh, this would legally be able to stop President Trump, and legally this is not a barrier to President Trump's ability, but politically it is. So this is not a legal barrier, but the fact that this got a vote just politically reduces the political capital of President Trump. So it's more of a political hit rather than a legal hit. So with that, let's go. And by the way, guys, this is why it's very important for more of us, for more people everywhere, to continue supporting President Trump's actions against the Islamic Republic and keep cheering for it, because this is a political battle, not just a military battle. And every one of you here supporting that increases the political capital of President Trump. Anyway, so Jose wanted to. So Danny, we go to Jose, right? Okay, Jose, go ahead.
Okay. Yep, it was just the House. Now it has to go to the Senate. And yes, four didn't vote for it or voted with the Democrats on it. They voted in full for the restrictions. But what you have to also understand is seven Republicans were no show. Had those seven voted with the rest of Republicans, we wouldn't be talking about this. No show means they refuse to vote. Okay. That, I think, is what's going to send it to the Senate. And you're right. 2/3 majority, they don't have 2/3 majority. No way in hell. Because both House and the Senate are practically split. Just a couple here and there difference. So no. Even if the Senate goes rogue and votes the Democratic with the Democrats, okay, and we have that going that direction of limiting the presidential powers as far as Iran's concerned, okay, he can veto it, starts the process all over again. They got to get the vote, and frankly, if they don't get the 3/4 vote in the House, it doesn't matter how the Senate votes. That's all.
Is that the same after the midterms, though? Like after midterms, would they not be able to have a much upper hand?
Midterms are in November. This can go a lot faster.
Mhm.
It depends on how the Democrats in the Senate push for their part of the vote. Trump can't veto it until both the House and Senate send it to him. That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, let's go to Noah.
Noah.
As someone who was in student government and took a lot of some poli sci, yeah, Jose is correct. It would be a House and Senate vote, then it would have to go to the president, then 2/3 vote. The thing is, in terms of the midterms, I don't see I do see Democrats taking both houses. I don't see them taking 2/3 of either chamber. So even with that said, it would still be a political hit to the president because he would lose his power in the legislative branch. But the fact that you have seven currently that are not voting, there might be more that are just not coming out of the shadows yet. And also, one last thing I'd like to add is once after the midterms, once there's a new session, any legislature, like any bill or anything, dies. So they would have to bring this up all over again in the new Congress. So this would have to be brought up again by the new speaker and have all this stuff again. So yeah.
Okay, and also
Okay, and Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, and also after this, if you guys have any predictions for the midterms, also put a 2 in the chat for that as well. Go on, Jeffrey.
So, right, I mean, you had House Resolution 86. As you know, all the Democrats and 4 Republicans, Massey, Fitzpatrick, Warren Davis, and Tom Barrett, voted yes. It was sponsored by Never Trump or Douche Canoes, trying to frame it as this is a constitutional requirement. So, what does it mean for the military campaign? Even in a Republican, I mean, it's like a political rebuke eroding supporter. That's how it's being framed. Anti, what is it? Pro Mullah regime podcasts, or those that are adjacent or supportive of them, are framing it as erosion of support. It puts pressure on the administration, as Armin rightly said, to finish this diplomatically or via negotiations, or at least that's the perception. Rather than renewed large-scale strikes, Trump has argued that the major combat phase is over, and current actions are protecting shipping, are defensive. That's all that like narrative stuff. It doesn't limit him operationally. It doesn't stop existing operations immediately. So the resolution is non-binding in the short term. President Trump still retains broad commander-in-chief authority, especially for defending U.S. forces or allies from imminent threats, which the Mueller regime very much is. The campaign's main objectives, as far as like threats posed, degrading like the regime's missiles, nuclear, naval capabilities, and removing key figures, has already been achieved. Albeit the regime has to be removed if you're going to ensure any kind of sustained, or having the regime never get a nuclear weapon, given their inelastic pursuit of obtaining one. It was designed and framed around a constitutional bait, and that's like political triangulation via co-opting your opponent's position by Democrats and never Trumpers hoping to win the midterms. As far as the regime specifically, so the military campaign, as it's already happened, is already significantly weakening the regime. It's conventional military power and eliminate its top leader. Nothing is going to reverse those battlefield results. That being said, we have to finish the job. I would contend it illustrates in no uncertain detail, though, given the nature of the vote and the impact it might have operationally, demonstrates a couple of key things. The left is not your fucking friend, Armin. They don't care about Iranian citizens and never did. All they care about is their own manufactured narcissism. And they'll pursue that even if the world burns, which is why the patriotic bloc is ready to do what it's going to do.
I mean, I know this. Except John Fetterman, so we have to acknowledge that John Fetterman. Just want to. Yes.
Except John Fetterman.
Yes. Hashtag not all, but the vast majority. The vast majority. Except, oh, wait, two people. Except John Fetterman and Jewish Samantha. Okay, there we go. Yes. All right. So, wait, who's next?
Okay, so I'm next. I wanted to say that I don't have specific predictions for how the midterms will go, but I just think it would be irresponsible not to plan for the worst, or to at least have military plans that survive the worst case.
Wait, say that
okay.
again. Sorry, say that again. That seemed like very deep.
I think the responsible thing to do is to have military plans that survive the worst case scenario, since we don't know ahead of time how the midterms will go.
Yeah, but who you mean in replacement of United States?
No, I mean that the military plans that the US pursues should not depend on winning the midterms in order to succeed.
Okay. Okay. I see Jose. I mean, I don't understand that yet. I'm trying to figure it out. Can you explain it in a different way? I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
So if you say that we're going to pursue some sort of campaign that lasts for 5 years, counting on the fact that we're going to win the midterms, no one is going to be able to enforce the War Powers Act, and the Republicans are going to keep control of the presidency, that's a bad plan because shit happens sometimes.
Yeah, but then in that case is then you can't do anything then if you need certainty politically. Sometimes you need to start something and then fight for being able to do it, or else if you need certainty to be able to do stuff, then you wouldn't be able to start anything.
Not that you need certainty, you just need plans that are able to adapt when bad things happen.
So the adaptation might be fighting politically to not lose your political ability to you don't know, maybe people will be able to stop you, but you start anyways and you try to fight back and not let them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Okay. Noah's next.
Yeah, mine's just the prediction. So my prediction is for the Senate, it will be 53 minimum and 57 maximum that Democrats will take. And for the House, it would be a minimum of 223 and a maximum of maybe 250. So still not enough for 2/3, but he would President Trump would lose a lot of power regardless. Those are my predictions.
interesting. People in the YouTube chat disagree, but we'll see. If it comes, if your prediction comes true, then we will have to listen to you. Take your predictions more seriously after this. We'll see.
Fair enough.
All right, who's next?
Shauna.
No, Shana, I want to hear your opinions about what you think is going to happen. I'm actually very interested in your takes on what might happen.
I don't know because I need to do some more research
Okay.
on like the election stuff. I am nervous about it because there's a few places. What I'm seeing on the ground in Mormon land is concerning to me because Mormons are feeling, and I'm not saying people are being rational. These are normie Mormons. They're feeling very threatened by like the kind of rising Christian nationalism. I can see it going, Norman, according to Danny. I can see them going like a few different ways, specifically in Arizona. And like, I think in Arizona, they're only like 13% of the population or something, but that's still enough to swing an election. And that is a swing state. So I need to kind of feel on the ground how, like, I need to do some research and get some more actual numbers rather than just vibes, because right now I'm just giving you what I'm seeing on the ground based on vibes. Um, so everything I'm saying is a little bit trust me, bro, but that's a concern I have. Utah will probably go Republican. I don't see that changing. But yeah, I mean, that's that people are feeling very threatened by the right now, justifiably or not. So
Normie Mormies are afraid of Christian nationalism.
yeah, because it's historically been those that hard right Christian nationalist. I mean, Christian nationalism is kind of a new phenomena, but people who are kind of co-aligned historically with Christian nationalist uprisings or groups, kind of similar ideas, have typically been the one who has persecuted us. Jews have never, like, leftists have never killed us for being Mormons, and Protestants have. Now, this was 100 years ago. I'm not blaming all Protestants. I'm not blaming modern evangelicals, but the history is there and the fear is there.
Okay, I didn't even
So,
know that's a thing. Thank you for. See, I'm glad that you open your mic. Every time you say things, we get more educated. So keep opening your mic, please. That's great. That's very insightful. Thank you for that.
All right, Jose.
Okay. First thing, midterms are until November 7th, 8th, or 9th. I forget which one it is this year. That's a long time away. We're in month 6. That's month 11. Okay. So let's say the Democrats get the senators to vote, and the senators vote no to the War Powers Act. Okay. It's over. Right there. If they vote yes, by how much do they vote? Then what Trump does, he vetoes it. Then the Democrats are going to have to start negotiating with every single Republican to try to get more Republicans to join their side. And this is all before the November elections. And oh, by the way, if I remember correctly, Noah, I'm hoping you can answer. Oh, Sophie, the elections are one thing, but going into Congress and in power doesn't happen immediately. So if the president vetoes it, they have to start all over again with votes. And it really will depend on whether they get those maximum numbers that Noah was talking about in order to get control of the House and the Senate. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that widespread. I'm hearing a lot of doom and gloom. That same doom and gloom said that there's no way a Republican's going to win the mayor's office in San Diego, San Francisco, wherever the fuck it is, in California, pardon the language. But the Democratic hopeful only got 30% of the vote. The Republican hopeful there, the actor, got 28% of the vote. They're in a runoff between those two. The socialist one got blown out of the water by the other two. Doesn't have a chance. So we'll see what happens there. And then as far as the state of California is concerned, there are a lot of areas within the state that were already red for Republican, and there are a lot of associated areas that are starting to look like they're going to go Republican. Republican means the state, the area is going to go Republican, and most likely their congressmen are going to go Republican. The key to this election, I think it's going to be California, Washington State, okay, New York, and Illinois with Chicago. Maybe Texas, okay? And I don't think it's going to be as bad as what the people in the news media, remember, they're the ones that on election night declared that Kamala was going to win by 57 electoral votes. And then she got swamped and never got even near that number. The thing that people don't understand is these news media, they take their information from pollsters, people sitting outside counting, how did you vote? How did you vote? How did you vote? How did you vote? Well, guess what? Every time I get asked a question, I said, none of your business, and walk away. Okay, because it's none of anybody's business. So the people that want to be on television and want to look like they're okay and they're or with this might say Democrat, Democrat, Democrat when they voted Republican. You know? So doom and gloom, Danny, they might not even be able to take office until January 6th. Okay? Which means it's a long ass time in the future. And in the meantime, who's in Congress is going to have to try to fight and get at least half of the Republican congressmen and half the Democratic senators to vote to overturn a veto. Okay, so we'll see what happens. I have more confidence in the actual workings of the American government and the system and how it works than a lot of people who have been talking. Okay, so chill, buddy. He's got your back. He definitely has Iran's back. And if it goes far enough that he challenges the War Powers Act, what will happen when the senators come back, most likely, and congressmen come back in January 6th or the 5th next year, to take their seats, they might have that act totally stripped from them. It's unconstitutional. You know, and that's the other half that's not being talked about. This could very well end up being a constitutional fight, which I'd say is about effing time, because holding the president of the United States responsible for the safety of the United States, but making the Congress responsible for whether we go to war or not is a crock of shit. You know, that's all.
Thank you. And one more response from Amy, and then we can go to super chats.
Amy,
Hi, how are ya?
hi, missed you.
Oh, I missed you too. I am going to come at this from boots on the ground, American, and someone who's been here since the beginning and spends a lot of time online, social media, pushing this narrative for us. And I see on social media the grassroots is growing in the United States. I am seeing a lot more Republicans speaking out and condemning what is happening, and people that haven't spoken in years haven't voiced their opinion online in years are starting to get very, very vocal. And it's actually, it was shocking to me to see some people step out and step up and start educating other people. So I feel like our cause is grassroots growing. That's my hope and my take.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so now we can do super chats.
All right. So we got Fleshy Interloper saying for the counter, getting our super chat counter running. Thank you, Fleshy Interloper, for that. And then another one by Fleshy Interloper saying, I think the midterms will be disappointing for the Dems. Okay. Well, hopefully you're right, Fleshy. And then a third one also for Fleshy Interloper saying, because of no boots on the ground, is the U.S. Army even usable at this point? No disrespect. Well, actually, I will get Jeffrey to respond to this if he's here. But let me actually say, Jeffrey, if you hear this, I got this comment from somebody saying, never Trump douche canoes. So you're making that a thing on the YouTube chat. People are now saying that. And also there was a question saying, Alexia, hi, are you here today? And no, she's not on the YouTube chat because she's here in the discussion group. That's why you can't see her in the YouTube chat. Okay. So people are asking for you, Alexa, in the YouTube chat. Anyway, so let's go to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, the question was, because of quote unquote no boots on the ground, is the US Army even usable at this point? No disrespect.
Our strategy against the Mullah regime was never heavy or ground force centric because of the topography and nature of the Mullah, of Iran and the Mullah regime's urban shield strategy. Ours was very much focused on leveraging mass air power because that allows us to take out a lot of the Mullah regime and or regime remnants should CENTCOM do what it needs to do with minimal amount of cost to both the United States and our allies, and most importantly to Iranian people. So as far as like what ground troops would possibly be used or what they looked at was very much things like holding and or liberating strategic islands in the Strait of Hormuz, including Karg Island and a couple other places. There's like about 7 to 9 strategic islands that the Mullah regime remnants, particularly the IRGC Navy, uses to support their asymmetric kind of mosquito boat and fleet strategy of trying to hold like shipping hostage. I mean, as far as like having tier 1 operators on the ground, I mean, I'm not going to say either yes or no. I mean, I'm taking your question to denote like conventional, like deploying conventional ground forces inside Iran. That would that's never been our goal, not because of like any kind of trepidation or oh, we're scared of the regime or it was mostly because that approach would not be operationally effective and or optimal, with the goal of both like eliminating the threat posed by the Mullah regime and now regime remnants, and or to ensure the regime falls. Does that make sense? Hopefully that made sense.
That did make sense, but we also have another super chat responding to this, saying if ceasefire. Thank you, by the way, George Hansen, saying if ceasefire doesn't really mean ceasefire, why should we think boots on the ground means boots on the ground? Actually, that's a good point, because ceasefire now means less military operations. Ceasefire doesn't mean no military operations. Ceasefire means less military operations. So no boots on the ground might just mean like, well, boots on the ground on the islands in the Iran, or boots on the ground just might mean no boots on the ground might just means, well, we'll just do the southern part of Iran, not the rest of Iran. So maybe we could just redefine that as well. I know Casey gave us his own super chat saying 118 of Trump's endorsements have won. Have fucking faith. So yeah, President Trump actually showed that the Republican Party is Trump's party, and MAGA is still Trump's MAGA, and the isolationists overplayed their hand, and they exaggerated how influential they are, and this is still Trump's party. Every 118 out of 118 endorsement by Trump, 118 out of 100, and 100% of Trump's endorsements won, which shows that this is still his party, and MAGA is what Trump says it is. And thank you guys for the super chats. Okay, what's the next?
Jeffrey wanted to also say something about boots on the ground.
There we go.
Real quickly, ultimately, again, the main boots on the ground are, of course, the Iranian people and Iranian resistance. And that is why the Track 2 material support line of effort is so critical and important. And there's different avenues that's how to best pursue that are being pursued, whether it's doing the route that I outlined, or as Armin outlined, or barring that, responding to a very brave message out of Iran that's sent by a woman who simply said, "Arm us, we the people." That is one. That's like our third option. Which, I mean, if I'm not saying that that's being the primary approach to being pursued, I'm saying that's another option. So I just wanted to add that.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.